Hey friends, it's Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org with more coverage on the Maui fires. There's so much to dig into here, and I want to share with you a very powerful news story that comes from Hawaii, and the reporter is Jeremy Lee. He's been the one that has been at all of these press concerts, as I call them, really calling these public serpents on the carpet. I tried to think about a good title for this video. So I settled on, let's see, I've got Maui Mayor Bissen is Missin. Whoops, let me cue that up for you. And I think I might have a little misspelling there. Are the lives lost due to his ineptitude? I'm about to share with you the law. Let me just fix this here. The law that gave the mayor the authority and really the responsibility to issue I would call a mandatory evacuation. So let me take you back just a little bit here to a video that I did. And actually, let's go right to the footage itself. We'll dive right in. I don't want to, let me cue all this up for you here. All right, let me share my screen. And welcome to my virtual background. This is to just keep a little bit more of my privacy. Thank you for everybody for your nice comments about the backgrounds. I thought you would like this one. It's a little more peaceful, easy on the eyes. And we are going to hop right on over here to this very important news story, which just came out a couple of hours ago. So I'm going to allow it to play uninterrupted, and then I will make some commentary. I also want to draw your attention to the fact that I did a video all about the Emergency Services Act that gives the governor and the mayor certain authority during an emergency. And on the one hand, people may say that that authority is too powerful. It allows them to break the law. But on the other hand, this mayor didn't even follow what he was required to do. So I like KITV. And the reason why I'm staying on the story is, number one, I think it is one of the most important stories of our time, because it's so blatant, the destruction, the devastation, to literally do a land clearing so that they can build back better in the sustainable development goals that the governor, Joshi, as I call him, Green Deal, right? DEW, he is all in favor of having Hawaii be the world's, let's say, model for what these sustainable cities could be like. So it's not a coincidence that the governor is blaming global swarming for all of this so conveniently. But this Jeremy Lee right there with the microphone, he does not back down. So let's listen to this. It's just about 3 minutes. Let me make sure I don't have it too fast. Yeah, I have it on normal speed. Here we go.
Since August 29th, and KITV4's Jeremy Lee joins us live from West Maui. And Jeremy, you have more on those unanswered questions that remain 7 weeks later.
We have asked who is responsible for issuing an emergency evacuation order that would usher the public out of Lahaina town.
Do I have this on normal speed? Yeah, they're speaking pretty fast.
Before fire overtook Front Street, those emergency powers were used before the morning fire was contained on August 8th, but no public official has confirmed if those powers were used in the afternoon.
I do have to stop there for a second. There were 2 fires that day in Lahaina. There was a morning fire that was contained, that some believed started from the electricity wires. Then the electricity was shut off. That's what the Hawaiian Electric Company is saying. Then there was an afternoon fire breaking out around 3 o'clock or a little bit later. That was the deadly fire. So the fire during the day did not impact children being sent home from school. The schools were not open except for the high school. The school was canceled that day at the high school because the power was down and there were high winds. So the deadly fire was later in the day. There was an evacuation for the morning fire, and this is what he's investigating. Was there an evacuation for the afternoon fire? Okay, just wanted to make sure that was clear because he did go a little fast.
Take a look. Hawaii Revised Statute 127A13B4 reads, in the event of a local state of emergency declared by the mayor may direct and control the mandatory evacuation of civilian population. In other words, it's the mayor who makes the call.
All right. I do need to just show that to you here. So here is the law. In the event of a local state of emergency, meaning in your locale, declared by the mayor may exercise the following additional powers. And here it is. The mayor can also order the shut off of the water mains, the gas mains, electric power connections. And the mayor is the one responsible to direct and control the mandatory evacuation. Views as of today about which states can forcibly quarantine you. And I talk about the Hawaii law and what they can do. So just want to give you a little bit of background. Let's go on and we'll listen to Jeremy Lee's very fine reporting here on KITV. This is a news story just a few hours ago. Here we are.
Sorry. I'm not sure who was in charge. I think Herman Ambaya was still in charge. He just wasn't present. He was in contact with his team, I guess by phone.
In those 4 August press conferences, nobody from the county ever stepped forward to say who was responsible for that communication failure that trapped people in Lahaina town. In the 4 August press conferences, county officials would not detail communication failures in the afternoon of August 8. What kind of communication in the key hours of 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. was ongoing between command and control of police and fire, that being whoever was in your stead at that time?
So we share the same dispatch center, both police and fire here. So all of our information goes to the same location so that it can be quickly sent out to the other organization.
But was
I'm sorry, I have to stop just for a second because this Brad Ventura was and is the chief of the Maui Fire Department. And we have been told that he was off the island. We have not verified that yet. He has never answered the question, who was in charge of the fire department at that time? How many personnel were sent on the scene? How many fire trucks or engines were sent? How long did they stay? Where were they dispatched? Who was the incident commander? How did the fire stop? If you were not there, if there were no firemen on the scene, if there was no water coming out of the water mains, and there were no fire trucks because all of the personnel were told to stand down, how did the fire end? In a perfect grid position. We sent a Freedom of Information Act to the fire department on Maui right after this happened. And we just got a notice back saying that they are denying our Freedom of Information Act. So this nice, looks like he's a nice Hawaiian local boy is dodging the questions. And I'm very, very concerned about that. All right, let's continue.
But was that information sent out between 3 and 5:30 p.m. on August 8th? At the previous press conference, I asked what time did police and fire convene in the Emergency Operations Center on the ground floor of the county building?
I can't talk about the EOC on some of that. I'm just going to talk about police ops, if you don't mind. Police and fire communicate. They communicate very well together. We did not.
This is a picture of the roads being blocked off. The exit from Lahaina town was blocked. All right. There have been many eyewitness videos that have shown this.
Close or forbid people from getting out of Lahaina if they're.
Okay. There was a police car and he's the chief of police fresh off the boat from Las Vegas. Yeah. That incident. So he's saying that he and the police did not block the roads, yet here's a picture of the roads blocked.
People from getting out of Lahaina. If there's a down power line, we don't want that was live. We want to make sure that you didn't go over a down live power line.
But the electricity company had turned the power off.
But documentation of at least a half dozen roadblocks indicate police were unaware of.
Here you go. More roadblocks. Maui PD.
Hawaiian Electric's claim that power lines were de-energized by morning, or of an evacuation order, which the mayor claimed was given.
Yes, mandatory evacuations did take place.
Check out his hand position.
on the west side, certainly for Lina.
But could not answer the follow-up. But when was the afternoon that had the second evacuation?
Obviously, I don't know what that was.
The county Facebook only posts at 10:07 p.m. that evacuation orders were in effect as of 9:45 at night. In fact, elected officials have constantly referred to emergency operations for Lahaina happening at night.
The emergency operation center was in full activation that night.
Our radios did not fail, and so we had constant radio communication that night.
But this was an afternoon fire. The fire started at 3 p.m.
Had we sounded the siren that night, we're afraid that people would have gone malka.
Evacuees fled to the water by 5:33. Emergency operations did occur at night, as seen in this video of Waiikuli evacuations at 9:22 p.m., hours after Front Street burned. Mayor Richard Bissen and the county Facebook page both announced at 5:20 p.m. on August 8th, quote, access in and out of Lahaina is now possible via Hokiokio Place, indicating that as of 5:20 p.m., traffic was still incoming to Lahaina. Lanes had not been contraflowed to support an emergency evacuation.
Let me pause there for a second as well. And I think that is the end of the broadcast. Let's see.
Reporting from Lahaina, Jeremy Lee, KITV4 Island News.
A joint press conference.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So that's Jeremy Lee. And he said that the traffic lanes had not been contraflowed. So normally they would have allowed everybody to leave on both sides of the street instead of, those, traffic that's going in opposition. Everybody would have been able to leave the city. They didn't do that or leave the town. Now, the other thing is that this Mayor Bissen is missing. He has not given any press concerts, as I call them, because they basically are a performance since that one that and I also covered that on this channel, he flubbed a lot of the questions, as you saw previously, and he got very upset, as did the Major General Hara, who was getting a little bit, ready for a fist fight at one of these press conferences. They haven't had another one since at that level. Bissen did issue a statement, and I also shared that on this channel. Many of you thought that he was stoned, he was high, he was on some sort of drug because his eyes were glazed over, completely devoid of emotion. And some of you have also put forth some very interesting theories of some type of, how can I be delicate here on this public platform, mind manipulation, that many of these characters that are playing their roles, including Joshi and others, do not appear to be normal. All right. There's no emotion. There's no regret. There's no remorse. It's as if they literally are reading a script. They're very robotic, quite like automatons. So the reason why I wanted to bring you this news is, number one, I would like you to watch that KITV if you are interested. They have the best reporting. They're up to date on what's going on, and they literally are holding these public serpents' feet to the fire. I think it's important for us to continue to follow this story because we are rattling their cages. Now, the Band-Aid bumbling Josh Greendew deal, we were told by Healthy Americans that called the governor's office, they said that he was wearing those Band-Aids as an inside joke. Okay, I find that despicable. I find it demeaning. I find it childish. It is, I can't even think of, if you can give me an adjective for it, it's absolutely bizarre behavior. And he wears these Band-Aids on different fingers, different colored Band-Aids. He has been wearing a lot of the yellow Band-Aids, which I believe are a symbol of his Build Back Better, Build Beyond Barriers, Housing is Healthcare information that I brought to you before. And then he hasn't been wearing them. The governor's office knows that we're onto it and that we're calling. And then a few others were calling to see if he's okay because he seems to have some kind of problem with his eyesight where he speaks with his eyes closed and he does a lot of squinting. And so by calling the governor's office and emailing the governor's office and saying, I'm concerned about whether or not he's fit to serve, He appears to be not quite with it. Is he having some type of vision problems, or is he having health problems with all of these Band-Aids? Does he have some kind of contagious fungus? I think it's working that we are pushing back. It's definitely working in terms of our voices here on social media. That cheat of police that you saw, I'm going to have to cue this up for you. He called you a keyboard coward. That's what he called everybody who is leaving comments on social media. He's demeaning and ridiculing and mocking you because you are rattling the cage. We need to keep doing that. I gave some evidence of how exposing these evildoers to the light is working. And that's where Josh Green Do Deal, as I call him, actually revised one of his emergency proclamations related to housing. And he reinstituted the Sunshine Laws, meaning that public testimony will be given. These meetings will not be held in private. And he also reinstituted some of the protections for the Hawaiian homelands and other important issues. I did an entire video and a Substack on that. So I hope that you will get on my free Substack. I have a link for you in the description box below. The more that we can expose these evildoers, it makes me feel empowered, like I'm not having the wool pulled over my eyes. Now, I don't want you to obsess over this. I want you to be informed, but not obsessed, meaning you still should make time for your everyday activities like, exercise and doing the laundry and grocery shopping and spending time with your loved ones. But let's keep the pressure on, shall we? Stick with me because I've got another video where I'm going to share with you a video of never before seen footage from a fellow that was living in Lahaina. You may have heard of him. His name is Jeff Cygnus, and YouTube is not really his main deal. I think he's maybe in some other form of business, but he was there on the island, and he has brought a lot of very important information. So I'm going to share that with you in an upcoming video. Thank you, everybody, for being on board. Big shout out to the moderators as well. I think I'll have 3 videos for you in the live stream today, and the last 2 will be a little shorter. All right. Thank you, everybody. Make sure that you check out the Maui playlist. And I want you to know that I get it. Some of you are telling me that your friends and family think that you've gone off the deep end because you are taking a critical eye at this and other headlines. That's part of the reason that I want to encourage you and really applaud you for digging deeper. Even if sometimes we come up empty-handed, at least we are asking the questions. All right, friends, I'll see you. Give me just a couple of minutes to queue up the next video, and I'll see you in the very next broadcast.